Welcome to part 25 of the 2018 NFL Draft in Review. Today we will be looking at the 2018 New Orleans Saints draft class, and this is another one that kind of ended up going well under expectations. There's, as you can see, really not a lot going on here. So, for the first selection, 14th overall pick, we'll go to Marcus Davenport, who's effectively been the best player of this class, but hasn't exactly been anything super special either, I would say. So, as you can see here, the Saints never really opted to make him a major starter. He's had little flashes of being potentially a pretty good pass rushing defensive end, but this past year, as you can see, he went from 9 sacks to just a half sack. And the reason for this, that I think the Vikings now, as they just signed him, that they're thinking on here is that hopefully the downgrade was due to the 5 surgeries he had between the 2021-2022 seasons. So they're kind of taking the flyer in case he goes back to form and starts pummeling quarterbacks again, as we'll see with some highlights here.
3rd and 3. Saints rush 4. They get to Cousins. Down he goes.
Carr sending Adams on a jet sweep. Oh, drilled by Davenport.
On the block and tries to get Davenport, and no, look at that form tackle. Wow. Wraps him up, doesn't let Adams.
Crumbling pocket. Look out, Jordan. Got it away in time. Morrow saves the sack and got the...
Morrow is in protection. After losing protection, he's the guy that gets the ball dumped off.
They're going to start their day with a handoff to Jones, and he is ripped down behind the line of scrimmage by Marcus Davenport.
Up at the top based on the action in the backfield. Instead, he comes up and he rushes Rodgers.
There it is. 2nd down and 14. Complete to Patterson. Falcons pulled away. You're taught. Look at Cameron Jordan, Shy Tuttle. They're all right there. Oh, Lamb rolled. They just shoved. What?
As you said, Kevin, this is just a bull rush. He dumps him right into the lap
Oh, wow.
of Ryan Tannehill.
From their own 40. Gino throwing on the run. And let's see if that was intercepted. No, it wasn't.
When he was playing at Marshall.
Yeah, it looks great. Marcus Davenport from behind gets Ronald Jones.
Well, Devin threw the block by Gronkowski, and there he is. And I thought he had a...
So, what I'm seeing here is the Vikings could very well be pretty smart to take the flyer on this one, because he does seem to have a good mixture of moves and strength. He doesn't give up on plays if he's been duped like we saw the one time. So, I would say that if he can just reclaim the form he had before all the surgeries, then the Vikings might have gotten themselves a pretty decent defensive player for cheap, though it's only a 1-year contract, so if they want to keep him, they're going to have to pay him again next season. So, next up we have wide receiver Tre'Quan Smith, and though I have had Saints fans try to hype this guy up to me, Tre'Quan Smith is nothing special. He's been a good target for the Saints to have in, down and distance sort of situations, because as we can see, a lot of first downs in comparison to his overall catches, and 17 on 18 catches one year, 14 on 19 in another year. They're virtually never beyond like 10 or so of each other in terms of the stat line. Pretty decent reliability on the catch rate over here. Yards per target has been under 10 all but one season in his career. Now that the Saints are starting to get some other options like Chris Olave, Tre'Quan's role is looking like it's diminishing some. You know, he seemed to have more utility in his first 3 seasons than he's had the last 2. So, I probably could have brought up highlights for Traquan, but I didn't really feel like he's done quite enough to merit that unless I could find a touchdown reel. So, yeah, I just... This guy's a number 3, number 4 receiver at best. A few people have tried to hype him up as more than that, but he's not more than that. He has had more than enough time to show, and he just doesn't achieve that. So, no, I don't agree that this was anything more than a high-end extra option target. So, then the 4th round, they selected Rick Leonard, and as I recall, he played defensive end in college, and since being moved to offensive line in the NFL, well, the results speak to themselves. He has never been off a practice squad. And he's been through a pretty impressive number of teams, being with the Saints, Rams, Cardinals, Texans, Washington when they didn't have a name, Falcons, and Vikings. And he's been with the Cardinals and Vikings twice. Or the Cardinals and Falcons twice, but still. He's only played in 2 games. It's just, no. This is the kind of thing, and that's why I don't really like moving players around to positions that they shouldn't be playing. The same thing pretty much happened to Natrell Jamerson. As far as I recall, he was a much better safety in college, and then the Saints pulled him over to corner. And again, you can see the results. No one really wants to keep this guy around. He's gone through a lot of teams himself, the Saints, Texans, Packers, Panthers, Jets, Giants, Raiders, and he's presently in the Canadian Football League with the Calgary Stampeders. And I find it rather telling that in 1 year he was used more in the CFL than in 4 years in the NFL. So It'd be interesting to see if he could maybe carve out a little bit of just a little bit of a role in Calgary or other places in other leagues, but it doesn't look like this was anything of really a major selection in the NFL. Then they picked another corner, which kind of made it weird for me that they picked Natrell. This was Cameron Moore, and Moore, as far as I know, is one of the players who has since retired. And he, as far as I know, never really played in the NFL. This is just one of those late round... Yeah, just a late round selection that you don't really do much with. And so that brings us to the last player that we're actually going to have something to say about, and this is running back Boston Scott. Though a lot of this has ended up translated to benefit for the Eagles because the Saints didn't even keep him around after picking him in his first season. So since that, he's picked up 16 touchdowns on the ground, another 1 receiving, and honestly, I have just a kind of weird thing regarding Boston Scott in that I think that given a chance to do more, he probably could. But obviously, the past couple of years, you've had Jalen Hurts coming into the picture, a very mobile quarterback. There's Miles Sanders, I believe Kenneth Gainwell's his name, or someone else like that, but he's like the 3rd or 4th option for running the ball, and that really takes away the chance for Scott to really do something. But Miles Sanders is out of the picture now, so maybe Boston Scott's chance is coming soon. And so we'll come over here and take a little bit of a look at his highlights from the 2021 season where he put up 7 touchdowns.
Imagine that Jalen Hurts wants to keep this one on its own lead. 3rd and goal. Nope. Hands off to Boston Scott, and he is in for an Eagles touchdown.
Good blocks, good power run.
All right, here we go. 3rd and goal from just inside the 1. It's Boston Scott who takes it in for an Eagles touchdown. Below the belt for Mr. Vilma. Boston Scott takes the handoff. 1st down and more. Boston Scott takes it all the way out to the 38-yard line. Picks up from the Lions 3. The give is to Scott. And Scott takes it in. There is a flag. If it stands, it will be his 2nd touchdown today.
Joey Bosa remains on the LA sideline. 2nd down and 4. Back to the ground game, and Boston Scott pops 1 yards for the rookie Devontae Smith. 1st down for Philly, a blast by Boston Scott, breaks a tackle and hit from behind for a 1st down. So the running numbers are impressive. Kaiser White.
Straight up the middle and a huge hole for Boston Scott. Hurts. Little flip to this side. It is complete. 45, 40, 35-yard line goes Scott. On 2nd and 5, Boston Scott. Scott breaking free. 40. Out of bounds. One play ought to get us to the 2-minute warning. This is Scott. And Scott turning the corner. 20, 25, 30. Staying in bounds.
Scott bouncing. Boston Scott putting a shoulder into Robinson. He's got the 1st down. And it's 1st and goal for Philadelphia.
Now, one thing I do notice is that there were a few plays in there that I kind of feel if he had looked to the other side, he would have noticed a much bigger hole and gotten a much bigger gain as a result. So, it's not like, I don't think he's got superstar potential, but he's got the potential to do more, and I think if the Eagles can recognize that and start to utilize it more, they could have a pretty easy replacement for Miles Sanders now that Sanders is gone. And for the Saints, it's kind of turned into one of those rather amusing jokes that you're kind of getting low on running backs. I'm not really sure how much longer Alvin Kamara has before the wheels fall off, and you didn't even want to keep this guy. That's the sort of stuff that has been just killing the Saints from just bad decisions by management. And that will bring us to the last selection of the class, center Will Clapp, and he's been just kind of your average backup center in the league. He's started a handful of games. He's played in a modestly good chunk of games over the last 5 years. But really, he's just a reasonably quality backup that you can plug him in if something happens to the guy up front. And so that'll bring it to the end of the class. I originally gave this class a B grade, and that was mostly based on the assumption that more of these players would turn out to be substantially better than they were. Pretty much all of them underachieved what I figured. Davenport's really the only one that's got a high chance of really establishing himself permanently with a team, but that's going to require a good season this year with the Vikings. So I would bring this probably down somewhere into the D's. You've got 3 picks that didn't do anything in this league at all. 2 picks that are no longer, well, 3 picks that are no longer with you. One's, though, a backup. And the remaining one is an increasingly not utilized receiver. So I would say I'd bring this down to about a D+, because Davenport's potential as a pass rusher is still significant. Boston Scott might get his shot with the Eagles this year. But the rest, there's just really nothing here. A quality backup and a somewhat quality 3rd or 4th option wide receiver. So So that is going to do it for today. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, hit the notification bell, follow me on Twitter, and I will see you tomorrow for the 2018 Carolina Panthers draft class.